Good morning and welcome back to your weekend unboxing here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at Star Wars Villainous from Ravensburger. Now, in this game, it's a little bit different because instead of taking on the role of the hero and recreating the story of their triumph over the bad guy in whatever movie, TV show, book you are reading, you actually are taking on the role of the villain of the story because the villain wants a second chance to pull off whatever they were trying to do. Now, this is actually the third entry into the Villainous series. The original was Disney Villainous, where it would take all of the different Disney, princess movies or Pixar or, just a variety of different properties, and, everybody would be playing out their own particular scenario. They then moved into Marvel Villainous, where you actually had a shared universe. So you had the different villains and dealing with, a combination of superheroes that were trying to thwart their plans. And we now have the Star Wars version. So this is my first time taking a look at it. I'm already pretty familiar with how Villainous plays. It's a big hit with our family. And so obviously when they come out with a new version, especially one based on a property like Star Wars, we're at least going to give it a chance and take a look at it. So before we get started, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I do try to put out a few different videos each week covering all sorts of topics from board games, miniatures, card games, role-playing, anything in between. And I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. So hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy the video, hit the like button. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. All right, so this is the cover of the box. You have Darth Vader in what looks like a viewport on Bespin, kind of an iconic scene of Star Wars. And especially for the first game, I think that was a really, really good design choice. Go back to the original story, show off Darth Vader, who, let's be honest, is kind of like the quintessential bad guy at this point. But I like the use of the red, his lightsaber, really, really sets it off. This particular set is called Power of the Dark Side. Now, inside, we're going to have 5 different characters. We have Darth Vader, General Grievous, Asajj Ventress, Moff Gideon, and Kylo Ren. And description of the villain movers. And now this, I think, is kind of interesting. It says 2 to 4 players. In the original Disney Villainous, you actually get 6 villain characters. In Marvel, you get 5, and all of them actually say that you can play with that many players. So it's very curious that it says 2 to 4 on this one. But otherwise, just gives you an idea of what you're going to be getting out of the box. But let's open it up and take a look at the contents. All right, so we've got our instructions. Now, do give me a little bit of slack here. Some of the stuff I'm not going to be pulling plastic off because technically this is my second take at this video. Always make sure you hit record, folks. All right, so we do have our instructions. We're going to get our list of all of the components that come in the game and, obviously how to play. Setup, overview. Now, they do have a learn to play video that you can watch, but my guess is that the rules are basically going to be the same as the other Villainous games, so I don't think it's going to be hard to jump into if you've already played Villainous. One thing I do think is interesting, they've actually changed, not necessarily the terms, but they've changed the art for the actions, which I don't know. I'm not sure how I think about that. I would rather a game try to keep the icons and the symbols the same. I realize they're trying to give it more of a Star Wars feel. I don't know. I think they should have kept. I think they should have left them the same. So, all right. So let's start with this top portion first. You've got a tray for all of your tokens. Looks like we've got some extra cards. We'll look at those in a minute. And then you have your villain movers. Okay. These basically represent where your villain is on the board. So we'll start off. We've got Kylo Ren. Now, one thing I think is kind of interesting on these, like I said, this is my second time through, so we're taking a look at it again. But they're all based on the character's lightsabers. Now, this one, it looks good. They're all kind of going for this marbling effect. Some of them work better than others. This one's okay, but it looks like his lightsaber, but I'm not so sure how stable this is going to be. I have a feeling that if you bump the table, this thing's going to be falling over a lot. So that's a little disappointing. You'll see on most of the others, they have like a cloak or something, giving them a much more broad base. Like this one, we've got Uriel Ventress. This I think is kind of interesting. It looks sort of like a dark trooper kind of helmet on his cloak. But again, they're giving him something a little more broad to stand up with. Little muted on the face. We've got Darth Vader. So it looks like all of the villains in this are, dark Jedi of some kind, or dark Force users. What is Asajj Ventress? This is probably the simplest of the five. She's got her lightsabers on the back. And then we've got General Grievous. Now this is like so for the marbling, this is probably one of the worst in my opinion, because it really washes out the face and it's kind of hard to see the detail. The sculpting is fine. I like how they put the lightsabers on the back of him. It's just a little hard to see. I might come back, hit it with a wash. I haven't decided. But those are your villain movers. All right, so let's take a look at the player boards. Now, these are key to playing Villainous. Basically, it represents where your character is and where they're going to move around in the galaxy in order to try and accomplish their goals. Okay, so we've got Asajj Ventress. Now, this is closed, so they gave like a little quote from them. The other side is just blank, but then you open it up, and this is your full player board. Obviously, it does not fit completely in the camera on the infamously small, work area. So we'll kind of zoom in and just focus on it a little bit. All right, so you have your character over here on the left and what their objective is. So Asajj Ventress wants to complete 3 missions. And then you have the different locations that she can go to. So one of the things about Villainous is that when you first start playing, you'll put your mover on any one of the spaces, and then whichever area you're in, those are the actions you get to take. And then every turn you have to move to a different location and use those actions. So you can't just keep doing the same actions over and over. Very, very interesting action economy that way. But you'll get, power tokens or play cards, move, enemies or allies. So the icons are all consistent across the game. They're just going to be slightly different organization for each player. let's see. We've got Darth Vader, whose objective is to defeat Luke Skywalker. One thing you'll notice, there's kind of this box here at the top. There will be cards that will cover those up, so that as you have people trying to stop you from achieving your goal, they're going to make it harder by covering up some of the icons you have access to. All right, we've got General Grievous, whose goal is to collect 8 lightsabers. Overall, I mean, the art on this is fantastic. Ravensburger does a really, really good job. And I like how they're taking what looks like it would be film art, or let me phrase that, like stills from the movie, and then turning it into a piece of art. So Kylo Ren has to commit to the dark side of the Force. Obviously, we've got different locations that are important to him. And then we've got Moff Gideon. And his objective is to capture and experiment on Grogu, or Baby Yoda. Come on, let's be honest. Grogu is a horrible name. All right. So, those are the different player boards. Now, each player is, well, collectively, there's also going to be these tokens. I didn't memorize what they all do from the book, but like we have a lightsaber here, so that's going to be for General Grievous in order to, accomplish his objective. We have a little Kylo Ren token, so that's going to be used for tracking, him. But these are except for like the specific tokens, these are all typically, just joint. And that's where this comes in. You'll just separate all your tokens and keep them in the middle of the table for everybody to have access to. All right, then each player gets a set of cards. Now they're going to have two decks. Okay, this is the player deck. So in this case, we've got Kylo Ren, and then this is Kylo Ren's Fate deck. Okay, so the Fate deck represents all the heroes and the good guys trying to stop your particular bad guy. So obviously for Kylo Ren, we have Rey, Luke Skywalker, Poe, Leia, Han Solo. They're going to have different vehicles or equipment or effects so like in this case, you're going to move a Destiny token toward the light side. Obviously, if you're trying to be Kylo Ren and commit to the dark side, you're going to want to go the other direction. So players are pushing you, players are trying to affect how your game goes. Quotes and stuff from the movie. It's like here, find and play Rey. Kylo Ren cannot move Destiny tokens toward the dark side until Rey is defeated. Play 4 ambition to remove this card. So, all right, that's Kylo Ren's Fate deck. We then have his actual play deck. Now, this is going to be the allies and equipment that help you accomplish your goal. So, Stormtroopers, Knights of Ren, these are ally cards. So these are cards that you can put out to basically protect your side of the board. We got First Order officers, his command shuttle. These are obviously giving you additional icons, so you'll be able to do more things on your turn. But again, lots of art pulled from the movies, and it just looks really, really good. All right, so that's Kylo Ren. All right, we then got Moff Gideon. Obviously, we've got the Mandalorian. Yeah, it's right about here where I realized I wasn't recording last time. All right, take a look at his Fate deck real quick. Mandalorian, Grogu, Bo-Katan, Fennec Shand, Koska Reeves, the Razor Crest. Bounty. Obviously, scenes and, characters inspired by the source material. We then have the player deck. So we've got the Dark Troopers, again, going back to the cloak on the figure. Stormtroopers. Death Troopers. The Dark Saber. Beskar. So obviously it seems like there's a lot more cards that seem to be giving you abilities, which is good. But I also have a feeling that because they're starships, they're going to be there's going to be probably some sort of a travel mechanic, is my guess. For the record, folks, I don't do a lot of research on these before I do these videos. I want them to be a bit more open, or not open, but like give my actual first impressions. So we've got Asajj Ventress, Ahsoka, Anakin. Okay, so this is out of the Clone Wars cartoon. Still keeping a lot of the cartoon art, which is really good. Obi-Wan Starfighter. Yeah, again, this is all cartoon style art, but different, but done differently. So I think that's kind of interesting. All right, we then have 5 missions available to Asajj Ventress. So this is her play deck. The missions obviously are, well, not obviously, but that's actually a nice touch that they made them a different color. Got Stinky, Ambush, The Rescue, The Witches, and Clone DNA. Interesting. I have not watched all of the Clone Wars cartoon, so some of this is new to me. But again, the look here is fantastic. Very, very cool. I mean, if you are a big Star Wars fan, you're going to have a lot here that you like. Obviously, there can be some contention with people with some of the new stuff, but let's be honest, it's here, so it's going to show up in products like this. All right, Obi-Wan, again, film turned into art. This is just one of those classic scenes with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and they're doing the art really, really well. I actually am glad that they did the art instead of the screen grabs. I think it ends up with a better look that way. But again, just key scenes, key images. Sorry, still hate, Hayden Christensen as a Force Ghost. That was a bad call. All right, so that is Darth Vader's Fate deck. Then his play deck. So we've got the Emperor, Stormtroopers, Death Troopers, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, Darth Vader's Star Destroyer, again, just these key memorable scenes from the movie. Okay, that art that doesn't look good. That looks like Gollum or something. Gollum has transitioned over to Star Wars. Just fantastic. Yeah, that basically captures the original trilogy in a deck of cards. Well done. All right, last deck. All right, so this is for General Grievous. So his allies, we've got Kit Fisto, or not allies, but his the heroes he has to fight against: Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi Starfighter, Negotiator. All right. Lots of droids. Whole lot of droids. I mean, it's General Grievous. He's kind of known for having a bunch of droids with him. All right, so it looks like each player has 2 starships available, so that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to read through the rules on how the starships work. All right, but there we go. So that is all of the cards. All right, one last thing to look at was the packet of items that was stored underneath the token storage. Now, sometimes you will get characters that require special things. So, in this case, we have a Luke Skywalker card that's actually made out of cardboard as opposed to just like a standard card. He is conflicted or he is focused. Basically, this is going to be something that Darth Vader will have to use in order to accomplish his goal. We then have a light side, dark side tracker. So this is going to be for not Rey, Kylo Ren, basically to track his progress towards being committed to the dark side. Just some art on the back. All right, now come back to these in a second. There are reference cards, so this is going to tell you what to do with all of the different action icons. And then also a summary of the objective for each player so that you kind of know what your opponent is trying to do. Because you essentially play by yourself, but then try to do things to the other players to slow them down. And so you basically have to know what is going to let them win in order to, try and, hinder them, find ways to slow them down. Now, because each player essentially plays separately, everyone gets a villain guide. So we have one for each player because they're all going to, they all have different objectives, so they're all going to have some different special rules. So, because I am an old school guy, let's take a look at Darth Vader. So the first thing is you're going to have your objective, what you have to do, and then you're going to have any special setup rules that you're going to need. So like in this case, you're going to take that Luke Skywalker card and you're going to put it, it says focus side up above the Death Star on the hero side of Darth Vader's sector. Luke Skywalker does not block action. So you actually don't put him on that little space at the top that would cover up actions. So he's going to be up there. But then different rules. So how Luke Skywalker is going to move, how he's going to interact with Darth Vader, what you're, so tempting a Jedi while Luke Skywalker is focused, Darth Vader cannot defeat him. So turn Luke to conflicted sign and lure him to the Emperor's throne room. So again, you're essentially playing out the movie, but from the role of the bad guy. So you're trying to be the the bad guy that accomplishes their goal instead of getting thwarted by the heroes. And then any other special rules and abilities that are going to impact your ability to complete those goals. So each hero gets one of these. Again, good art. They're usually pretty succinct and easy to understand. And overall, I like this. It's villainous, so I mean, essentially, we're getting into a game that we already understand. It's just changing the particular look of the game, and overall, I'm fine with it. I think they that I mean, you probably caught that while we were going through everything. I like the look of the game. I like everything that they've done with it. And it's already built on the solid villainous mechanics. So I don't think it's going to be anything that I have a problem with playing. So anyways, come back later. Eventually I will have a review up for this. Obviously, I've got a lot of games in my back catalog that I've got to go through. But we'll get a review up eventually. So if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed for more tabletop gaming content. And also, if you're interested in following us on any social media, I do have a link to Twitter and Facebook down below. And I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. So thanks for watching, and we will talk to you next time.